Now, I know that the IWC have grown accustomed to seeing scrawny little 5'7" guys in the main event of wrestling shows flipping around doing their Circus Soleil act. The IWC loves these little guys because when they look in the mirror, they see themselves and they can go, I could be a professional wrestler. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Casual WrestlingCast Daily. It is Tuesday, May 7th. I am the host of the show, the Notorious Nerdy D, and each and every day I drop in for a few moments to talk to you guys, the CWC, about the biggest things going on in professional wrestling. If you enjoy the content, please take a second to join the Casual Wrestling Club. The link is in the description of this video, and it's 100% free to join. That is where we do the exclusive giveaways, like this last month where DJ Wavy D and T-Squire won our banners that we gave away. We'll be doing a crumble cookie giveaway this week. And we also do exclusive polls and drop all the bonus episodes for the channel right there. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's top story. So Kevin Owens confirmed that he has no plans to leave WWE of his own accord, particularly after spending a decade with the company. He explained, "This has been my home for 10 years, and it's beyond just the locker room. There's some very, very, very special people that work behind the scenes that I've become very close with, and I really can't imagine not seeing them as part of my life." That's interesting. That's a very deep statement, and it leads me to my first point. Why would any WWE superstar at this point in time downgrade and willingly go to AEW? Why would you willingly go from sold out arenas to hundreds and hundreds in the stands? I try to tell you all, I try to tell all you IWC basement rats that the AEW is not a viable number 2 at this point. It has become a wrestling purgatory. That's all it is. You thought that you were going to get Drew McIntyre? Nah. You thought that you might get Kevin Owens? Nah. You ended up getting Sasha Banks. And I imagine right now that Mercedes Moné is in her locker room counting down the days until she can beg Triple H for a new job. Edge was the straw that broke the camel's back, guys. If Edge can't stay relevant in AEW, nobody can. And AEW's fine. I'm happy it exists. But its fan base on the internet is absolutely delusional. At this point, I don't know if there is a truck full of money that Tony Khan can back up on the doorstep of a real main event talent from WWE that would convince them to jump ship. At this point, Tony Khan's big surprises are going to have to be relegated to legends that WWE doesn't want, guys like Jerry the King Lawler, guys who get future endeavored from WWE that they didn't want to begin with, or just talent that WWE might have pissed off. That's it. That's the pool that Tony Khan has to choose from. And I'm pretty sure at this point in time, the once pipeline that ran from WWE to AEW has done a complete 180 and is now flowing in the other, it's flowing in the other direction, guys. I'd be more interested right now in knowing what guys like MJF, what guys like Wardlow and Ricky Starks are thinking. Maybe even someone like a Britt Baker. I think that as these AEW contracts come to an end in the next 365 days, WWE is going to have its pick of the litter on who it wants to poach and bring to the biggest wrestling company in the world. If I am an AEW delusional right now, I don't know how you can argue that you expect your roster to be excited about main eventing Double or Nothing in the MGM ballroom when they could jump ship and be a part of WrestleMania 41 in that big, beautiful Allegiant Stadium across the highway. You're gonna have to explain to me how performing in front of possibly, if you sell out possibly 16,000 fans, explain to me how that compares to selling out to 2 nights of 70,000 plus in a stadium. The logistics don't make sense anymore, AEW. You guys are delusional. If you're still defending this, I feel sorry for you. And you guys think that you're keeping people like Wardlow and MJF and Britt Baker through their next set of contracts. It's crazy. It's delusion. Kevin Owens is on my very, very short list of best all-around wrestlers in professional wrestling. Plain and simple. You guys thought you were going to get him. You can't have him. The problem for the IWC is now that he's admitted he won't go to AEW, you guys are going to begin the shit tour of trying to take a hot shit on Kevin Owens. I have him down as possibly one of 3 best wrestlers in the entire world. And that is a sin to say when you're a fan of WWE. WWE guys aren't allowed to be in the top 3. WWE guys aren't allowed to be the best wrestlers in the world. We have to reserve that spot, as the IWC thinks, for guys like Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. But when Bryan Danielson was in WWE, they didn't think he was the best wrestler in the world. I think there's a possibility I could talk myself into the idea that Kevin Owens, when you go stat for stat, you go every tangible thing that you want in a professional wrestler, Kevin Owens has absolutely everything you could possibly want. And so that, to me, this is a big W. This is telling. This is kind of the end of the pipeline that runs from WWE to AEW, and it spins that pipeline around, and we're now looking at a pipeline that runs from AEW back to WWE. But you guys know what else might be top 3 this year? It was Monday Night Raw this week. That was a pretty solid Monday Night Raw. Let's jump into my Raw in review. Now, I know that the IWC have grown accustomed to seeing scrawny little 5'7" guys in the main event of wrestling shows flipping around doing their Circus Soleil act. The IWC loves these little guys because when they look in the mirror, they see themselves and they can go, I could be a professional wrestler. But man, was Monday Night Raw refreshing to see 2 grown-ass alpha males slap the dog shit out of each other for 15 minutes. Triple H understands what real wrestling fans want to see. Triple H understands what gladiators look like in the ring. Triple H understands what is going to move the needle in wrestling. And AEW can have the bantamweight division. WWE is home of the true heavyweights in professional wrestling. That was a main event. That was a hell of a main event. I'm going to catch so much shit tonight when I get on the Mike and D podcast and I talk to Mike, who is the ambassador of Monday Night Raw, and he lets me know that was a real man's main event. Sheamus coming out of nowhere to save the show. Gunther stepping up and shutting me up and going, I don't need a title to be that guy. I am him. I don't know why I forget so quickly when Sheamus and Gunther, and you can add Drew McIntyre to that list, when they get in the ring, there's fireworks. That's wrestling. That's real pro wrestling, Now, having said that, Monday Night Raw had a few issues I'll talk about. I don't love that 2 of our King of the Ring matches are just going to take place at live events. We have a 3-hour show, Triple H. We can squeeze this stuff into television. I don't want to go research to figure out who moved on in the King of the Ring. And on top of that, Triple H, tell me these matches don't matter without telling me these matches don't matter. Nobody who wins a match in a live event is going to move on and then move forward again in these brackets. It's just not happening. That's not happening. This is just, we got to fill in some time. We'll do these at live events. It'll sell some live event tickets, and we'll move the needle a little bit. But these brackets, man, these brackets are hella interesting. These brackets, I look at the possibilities of what we could be watching next week and the week after that, and I go, this is tasty. This is spicy. This looks like the next couple of weeks of Monday Night Raw are going to be fun to watch. We could be staring down the gun of Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther in a semifinal match. That's interesting. I can't say that I hate that. Now, could I see Drew McIntyre costing Jey Uso his match next week and Ilya Dragunov making it to the semifinal? I could. I definitely could. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I could see it. I thought that CM Punk's promo was a little strange. Anybody with me on that? I didn't absolutely love the kind of stalling for time only to find out Drew's not coming back. That felt a little bit weird. Felt like a little bit of waste of CM Punk's time. Not that, anytime CM Punk has a live microphone on TV, I'm entertained. Maybe I'm a little bit spoiled at this point that I just want him to come out and like a hot butter knife, just start cutting through things. But I felt like this was, of all the promos CM Punk has cut since he came back, this was the most kind of rambling and possibly the worst use of CM Punk on a microphone that I've seen in a long time. I'm still not in love with the booking of Finn Balor. I still can't wrap my head around what they're trying to do there. I don't love this idea that Finn Balor is the goofy sidekick. He's the sidekick stooge all of a sudden. This is a guy who can main event any show he wants. This is a guy who clearly could lead a faction. This is a guy who is capable of being a world champion, but instead he's been relegated to being part of not the Three Stooges, the Four Stooges. And so if we're headed to a Judgment Day breakup, let's get to it. Let's do it sooner rather than later, because I think right now we're hurting Finn Balor more than we're helping Damian Priest with this story. 2 nights ago at Backlash, they're shoving each other in the ring. Then we start Monday Night Raw off with Damian Priest apologizing for his actions. I don't love it. I could see where you're going, but I don't love it. But on top of all that, you have Finn Balor yelling at the beginning of the show, "We run Monday Night Raw." And then you have Adam Pearce come out and basically just take a shit on Finn Balor and go, "You don't run Monday Night Raw." He openly said, "You don't run Monday Night Raw. I run Monday Night Raw." And he gives him a match. It's strange right now to me. As far as the Judgment Day goes, it's strange to me that your world champion on Monday Night Raw looks to be maybe the 6th most important person on that show. And as strange as that seems, I think that's a positive. I think me and Mike will talk about that later tonight. I think it's a positive because it's a testament to kind of what's going on your roster. But if you look at it, I'd go, Gunther's probably most important to Monday Night Raw right now. Then I'd go CM Punk. Then I'd go Drew McIntyre. Then I'd go Becky Lynch. I'd even throw in Liv Morgan. And at the 6th spot, that's where I'd slide Damian Priest is. That's about what he feels like his importance level is to me right now. So for the rest of Monday Night Raw, it was kind of what I expected. We saw Ricochet without the speed title, which is, this is kind of what I was worried about. This is what I talked about. I don't think this is going to be a long-lived thing. I don't think that we're going to have the speed title probably 60 days from now, 90 days from now. This is the type of thing WWE gives up on. This feels a lot like a 24/7 2.0 title. If it's not important enough for Ricochet to wear the title on his waist when he comes out on Monday Night Raw, then it's not important enough for me to give a shit. Like, if we're not going to treat that like every other title, then I don't think I give a shit. Let's circle back to Dragunov. Look, I gotta hit on Dragunov because I am a little critical of Dragunov, and it's for good reason. Dragunov looked good, but they booked him against a 5'9" Ricochet to protect him. There's a reason they do these things, guys. My fear with Dragunov is that he only is going to be believable to casual fans when he's in the ring with guys that are the same size as him. I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach until they match him up on the main roster with somebody who's 6'3" or above. That's the type of thing that can make me a believer. I like Dragunov. I like the kid. But it's a lot different when you have to line up across the ring from a Drew McIntyre or a Brock Lesnar, and you have to tell that same story with all that intensity. And before you guys try to sell me on, but you didn't watch his NXT work, that's different. We're not using NXT as a resume for what you get done on the main roster. Ask Karrion Kross about that. I know Dragunov is an intense cat. I know you guys like the way he yells in people's faces, but that kind of shit only goes so far. It only keeps a casual audience happy so long. He's going to have to do something to elevate himself. He's going to have to do something like a Rey Mysterio to make us believe that a guy so little can get the job done. I know the IWC might get behind this, and the IWC likes these guys who are 5'7", but the IWC only shows up on the internet. They don't show up and buy the t-shirts. They don't show up and buy the tickets. And I think Tony Khan's learning that the hard way right now. It will be interesting to see what they do this week with Jey Uso and Dragunov. It will be telling to see who gets the momentum push and who comes to a halt next Monday. Are we going to put an end to this Dragunov train very early? Or is Jey Uso going to, once again, lose another match that is high priority? My last thing from Monday Night Raw is I want to touch on Becky Lynch's promo / her interview that she had on Monday Night Raw. It's got to scare Mike and the Raw fans just a little bit that you had to send Becky Lynch out into the ring to basically introduce and explain to the casual audience who half of these girls are. Because that's what that was. That was Becky Lynch just person by person trying to explain why we should give a shit about these women. You guys can say whatever you want. You guys can try to jump on the Raw bandwagon. But the truth is, when it comes to women's wrestling, the rosters are unbalanced right now. There is proven talent on Friday Night SmackDown, and there's just a ton of potential on Monday Night Raw. And potential can be a good thing. If potential pays off, then great. We have two very strong women's wrestling rosters. But Triple H is going to have to do some interesting booking in order to keep that division interesting. Because I don't know that with all of these wrestlers that a lot of us haven't had eyes on, I don't know if you can sell that to a casual wrestling audience. So overall, I'm going to say very good episode of Raw. I can't wait to hear what Mike has to say tonight. He's going to gloat. He's going to throw it in my face. It was a solid Monday Night Raw. But Raw comes out swinging on the first night after post-draft shows. Raw didn't botch its first episode post-draft, but I will tell you who did botch something. It's time to hand out the Botch of the Day award. So the Botch of the Day award goes to the ever-growing IWC for not paying attention when I talk into this microphone. I gave a take yesterday on the Casual WrestlingCast about the crowd in France, and I hit a few nerves. I pissed a couple people off. I got 15,000 views on TikTok. That's an L take, bro. What a dumb take. You can't talk shit about French people. Never once in that take did I talk shit about French people, and never once in that take did I say that the crowd is not allowed to be excited about having a premium live event in their country. What I said and what we need to be careful about is glorifying this type of crowd on a regular basis. I am a fan of loud crowds. Let me repeat that. I am a fan of loud crowds, but there are limits to what I consider to be a good, fun crowd. Reactions are reactions. When you react to what's going on in the ring and you do it passionately, I love it. But when you sing for 3 hours and you have these scripted chants that you're hitting every time there's a 2 count, that's hijacking the show. That's making it about yourself. I've argued that wild crowds make for the best events. Overseas crowds are actually more fun to watch on TV than American crowds. I agree 100%. That doesn't make them better. They're more fun to watch. I like them in small doses. But what I won't take back that I said is that too much of something doesn't make it better. Cheering for 3 hours doesn't make it better. The 400 2-count chants don't make it better. Singing that phenomenal song 100 times doesn't make you a great crowd. It takes away from the wrestler's ability to tell the story that they're trying to tell. That shit works in AEW because AEW is straight up fantasy booking. The story doesn't matter, so you can cheer whatever you want as long as you're cheering. As long as there's more than 300 people in the fans, AEW is excited. But WWE heels are trying to get heat. They're trying to get a reaction. And so Tiffany Stratton and AJ Styles are usually able to work up and build the boos up during the match. But in France, instead, you just get mindless singing. You just get chants over and over. And yes, the energy definitely brings everybody up. But long term, it is not good for heel characters to be in an environment where there is no actual reaction to what's going on in the ring. It's just singing for the sake of singing. Now, stop telling me that this is a soccer atmosphere. Stop telling me you're American. You don't know what it's like to be in a soccer atmosphere. This isn't fucking soccer, guys. This is pro wrestling. This is a story being told. This is where we're supposed to react to the story that's going on in the ring. In soccer, there's a home team that needs a boost of energy to win the game, and so all of that energy gets just pushed into momentum of trying to win. In wrestling, this is a story that's being told out in front of you. Imagine going to a movie and you have someone sitting next to you and they clap and they react to everything that happens in that movie. They overreact, they clap, they cheer. Imagine that. There are appropriate times that you can clap at a movie. When the credits roll, I don't do it. I think it's kind of stupid, but it's okay to clap if you really enjoyed the movie. But don't clap during the middle of the fucking movie. That's a good way to piss me off. And it's not much different than everything else that happens in the world. It's not different from politics. Look, I'm an equal opportunist here. There's idiots on the right side. There's idiots on the left side. Just like there's audiences for wrestling shows that are way too loud and way too overbearing. And there's audiences that sit on their hands and they don't cheer. Both sides are wrong. A crowd that is too quiet doesn't deserve credit. A crowd that chants for 3 hours and doesn't react to what's going on doesn't deserve credit. A crowd that continues to do the stupid, what? They don't deserve credit. Just because I'm putting down this crowd doesn't mean I'm building up the other bad crowds. There are multiple versions of what a bad crowd looks like. And this is just one example. Do the French fans have the right to cheer any way they want? 100% yes, sure. Have fun. Like I said, it was cute. It was novel. It'll be remembered. But the IWC's got to stop ranking it. Stop telling me that's the best crowd you've ever seen. That's overreaction. That's hyperbole. The fact that so many people get pressed that I would actually have the opposite opinion, that I would say the crowd took away from the show, just lets me know I'm doing my job correctly. Like I'm starting the conversation. There are people who agree with me who don't want to come out and say it out loud because the mob called the IWC will come for you. Well, I will speak it out loud. I will speak it out loud. There are two opinions to every situation, and it just so happens that I'm not on the one that sides with all the other sheep. All right, now that I've said my piece there, it is time to drop the last gem of knowledge on these fools with the final blow to the IWC today. Sorry, IWC, but it is time to officially put the Liv Morgan hate to bed. On Monday, May 6, 2024, Liv Morgan cut a promo that didn't make me cringe. She right now is the best superstar on the Raw women's roster, not named Becky Lynch, that is actively wrestling. Now, I know there's a group of bum-ass wrestling fans who think it's cool to hate on Liv Morgan. There's the group of fans that say guys only like her because she's pretty. Look, I was once in that club. But we have to admit when somebody steps up and ascends to that next level. We have to admit when somebody actually becomes a superstar. And on Monday, May 6, 2024, Liv Morgan became a superstar. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on today's episode. Make sure to join the Casual Wrestling Club. Link is in the description of this video. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to hang out. Make sure to check out the Mike and D Wrestling Show, which airs later today, and we will talk more about wrestling tomorrow.